Hello chess friends and welcome to your Out of Chess channel and welcome to an amazing game of the TCEC Season 25 testing tournament that they can follow now on the official TCEC website. So this testing tournament is a preparation, a warm-up for the forthcoming TCEC Season 25 that will be the most important chess event, I think, about top engines in this year for sure. And we're following now an amazing, incredible tactical gameplay by Stockfish against Black Marlin from this event, in which you see a beautiful epic clash, really amazing tactical battle in the closed Sicilian. And this game is called only the closed Sicilian. Nothing will be closed about the Sicilian. The game will explode from an early stage of the game. So put your seatbelts on and enjoy in this beautiful, sharp tactical battle. So with the white pieces, the fish opened with the move e4. The other fish, the Black Marlin, response was c5. The Sicilian, knight to c3, the closed Sicilian. Now with the move g6 and of course the follow-up bishop to g7, knight to c6. Black is trying to cement the position around the square d4. So we have now the move f4, bishop to g7, knight to f3, and now e6. A different approach of Black's, hitting the center, which is in many occasions a good choice. You can play knight to c6, then of course knight from g to e7, and then knight to d4, and then this other knight is also following up. So then you have really a nice grip around the square d4. So we have now the move e5. Stockfish says you had your maybe chance somehow to battle for the center. Now I will occupy the center. There's not so much that can be done. In the game d5 was played by the Black Marlin engine. Of course you don't want to play e takes d6 en passant, then you have disconnected your powerful pawn. So now Stockfish is leaving Black here the center control with both of these pawns, which are of course very good here in the center of the board, but Stockfish continues now the game with the space advantage now here on the king side. So we have now d4. Stockfish is not allowing here some other possibilities by Black. Maybe Black wants also to push the pawn on d4 and then kick away this knight from this natural square c3. So that's why d4, knight to c6, and now d takes c5. Stockfish simply releases the pressure in the center of the board. Black Marlin continues with knight to h6, wants of course to play something like knight to f5, maybe also later f6, maybe cement the position around the square f5, knight to f5, and maybe play the follow-up h5, leaving the knight here really on a good square. But Stockfish is saying now you don't have your knight on the natural square. The natural square would be of course the square f6, and when you have the knight on natural square f6, then you have at least some kind of a protection of the h5 square. So Stockfish uses now this moment immediately, says you're not protecting your king enough. I'm attacking you immediately here on the flanks with this aggressive method h4, and there's not so much that can be done against the potential move h5. So this move is coming for sure. So queen to a5, we have here sort of an indirect attack against the king on e1. We have h5 anyway here by the fish, and now bishop to d7. Bishop to b5 protects now for a while the pawn on c5, but it's a risky choice because from this point on the game becomes really a spectacular tactical battle. Black Marlin of course calculates also this position and plays now the aggressive knight takes e5, because of course we have now the discovered attack against the bishop. If you pick up the bishop here on d7, then we'll simply play knight to d7 and we have gained the pawn. So that's why after move knight to e5, Stockfish grabs the knight, but also Black Marlin grabs the bishop. And when I watched the game, when I analyzed the game at home, this seemed to me like a mistake, because I thought, look, what you're doing? It's an open battle. Now you're leaving your opponent with the bishop pair, but still this knight is a little bit loose here on h6, and also still white is continuing the game with the main strength with the space advantage around the square e5. So that's why Stockfish continues the pressure against this knight, wants now to play queen to d2 and attack now the knight on h6 twice. Black Marlin is a continuation as bishop to c6, finally attacking the pawn on c5. Stockfish plays now the idea queen to d2, and now knight to f5, simply retreating with the knight here on f5. So you see also knight to g8 would be a possibility, but then you'll see with the move h6 your bishop gets paralyzed. So many positional problems for Black here on the king side for sure. So now h6 anyway by Stockfish, bishop to f8, hitting also the pawn on c5, and now amazing idea g4. And Pooh. This move is of course attacking the knight. The knight doesn't have so many good squares, but many attacking opportunities are there here for black too, because the Black Marlin engine uses now this moment, opens the position for the light square bishop. The position is really now open. The dark square bishop is also soon coming into the game for sure. After move d4, Stockfish plays now knight to e4, forces the trades of queens. After queen to d2, we have a knight from f to d2. We have now bishop to e7, bishop to f6, attacking the rook. Bishop takes f6, knight to f6, the check. We have now king to e7, and now finally Stockfish retreats with the rook. Look at this, really already many dirty tactics happen in this game, but now the pressure is a little bit released. The Black Marlin engine is continuing the game with the powerful bishop, also now with the powerful knight on e3, and Stockfish has also the powerful knight on f6 and is searching maybe for new opportunities for this knight in the game. So far the c2 pawn is hanging, so that's why Stockfish protects it. We have a rook to c8, which of course leaves the pawn on h7 a little bit unprotected. For instance, instead of after move g5, even if you protect this pawn on h7, it's not so good, because king to f2 is going to happen. We will eventually attack now the pawn on d4, which is of course the key protector of the knight on e3. You can maybe try rook to d8, but now look at this. You can play c4. If black, for instance, plays now d takes c3 en passant, we will take out the knight. Black will also take out the knight, but I think in this type of an endgame in which the white knight is so cemented on dark squares, and look at this, we have so many pawns on dark squares which cannot be of course attacked by the light square bishop, and with this 3 versus 2 pawn majority on the queen side, this could be completely winning endgame here. Imagine now this position without even the rooks on the board, then there is still this problem of the h7 pawn, so black is simply pushed far away. Black is simply pushed by the space advantage of white, so in a potential knight versus bishop endgame, the knight would be much more powerful. So that's a thing that has to be, I think, considered here, because no trades of pieces are in black's favor here for sure. So see, it's not so easy now to protect the position. You can maybe go for the h7 protection, but afterwards I think you're getting positionally destroyed. So that's why the Black Marlin engine search for new opportunities, maybe rook to a6, rook to b6 after move b6 or something, or maybe bishop to e8, trying to attack the pawn on c5, at least battling somehow here on the queen side. So Stockfish accepts the challenge, takes simply out the pawn on h7. We have a bishop to d5, knight to b3, hitting the pawn on d4, knight to g4, attacking now the rook, rook to e2, protecting now also the pawn on e5, and now bishop to f3, hitting the rook. So we have rook to d2. Now the Black Marlin takes out now this annoying pawn on e5, but Stockfish has everything under control, plays now the important knight to f6, controlling of course other squares on the board, and now the main goal is somehow, maybe with the support of the knight, somehow to have access to the d7 square, and of course also push here the pawn on h7, which could be really an annoying pass pawn here on the king side. So we have bishop to h5, knight to d4, rook takes c5, we have now h7, rook to h8, c4 here by Stockfish. If you take, of course, then you have some problems on the c file. As we said, also there is this problem of rook to d7, so black has to be also careful here. We have rook to c8, rook to c3, knight to g4, rook to f3. Very nice move, protecting now the knight in a different way. But now look at this, after move knight takes f6, of course the rook is hanging, but of course g takes f6 comes out now with the tempo against the king. The king has to now go here towards the center of the board. We have a rook to e3, and there are even now some tactics with knight takes e6, because the king would be of course attacked by the rook here on the d file. So in the game, e5 played by Black Marlin, risky choice. But even if you play king to c5, it's not getting better. We get simply knight to b3. You have to play something like, I know, king to c4, and now of course you're getting destroyed here on this side of the board. Rook to c3 is, for instance, no possibility. Or after move king to c5, you can also play rook to b3 immediately, which is also, I think, a decent choice. After rook to h7, we can deliver a check. we'll simply play b3, we'll simply decoy the king here to our side of the board. Now we can pick up here the pawn after something like e5, knight to b5. Look at this, you're getting so many dirty tactical problems here with this beautiful rook and knight activity here on the queen side. So this line is also not working. So king to c5 maybe solves the position for a while, but still have problems here, still have problems on the 7th rank. So it's a messed up game here for black for sure. So after move rook to e3, e5 was played by the Black Marlin engine. We have knight to f3, discovered check. We have king to e6, and now knight takes e5 again with new opportunities to play knight to g6 and then attacking the king again. So that's why king to f6 you have to play it. Now this other rook is coming into the game. Really beautiful harmony between white's pieces here in the attack. We have king to g7, rook takes f7, king to h6, rook to b7 with the preparation to play knight to f7. We have now rook to h7, and now after move knight to f7 you have to sacrifice now the rook. If you go of course here, then we have knight to g5, and then you lose the rook here on h7. So that's why Black Marlin had to now sacrifice the rook for the knight after rook to f7. We have now two rooks versus a rook and a bishop, and this is now completely winning endgame here for white. So let's see now the continuation. The Black Marlin took of course the pawn on c4. Now the king gets closer, the king is again activated, and now of course what Stockfish is trying to do is to get rid of this pawn on a4. So king to f4, rook to d3, king to e5. Now first the check, cutting off the king, and now forcing basically a trade of rooks. Black Marlin doesn't want of course to trade off the pieces because black is down the exchange, but now after a couple of moves Stockfish finally delivered a check and grabbed now the pawn on a4. Although black has the passer here, but still you have to be careful. There are of course this checkmate patterns with both of these rooks cutting off the king's ability to play. So that's why here first bishop to e8, we have here this idea, rook to a5, bishop to f7, b3. We have rook to b6, king to g7. Now again the king is coming closer. Here we have pin by the rook against the bishop, rook to g4, king to c5. We have now this idea, forcing of course the trades of pieces, because after rook to f5, a check, king to d4. Here in the game king to f8 was played, and now Stockfish of course simplifies the game by sacrificing the rook for the bishop, but now forcing a fully endgame in which of course white is now completely winning with these two connected passers. The king is far close enough to the potential protection of the promotion here on the g5, but in this particular position the Black Marlin engine resigns. So let's see of course the continuation. We'll simply get the king closer. Of course black can get the king closer to the pawn on a2, but when you take it of course you can never catch up anymore the pawn on the b file. This pawn will be promoted, and the game is over here for black for sure. So amazing really dynamic game. I think from the beginning nothing was close about this close Sicilian, but Stockfish activated the pieces enough, found good opportunities with his rooks and also with the knight in the center of the board, forced some dark square problems. Amazing play again here by the fish, and I'm really looking forward to watch now the new TCEC season, which will be covered here of course on my YouTube chess channel. We'll see the Dragon engine playing, Lila CZ engine playing, also some other engine. There is also I think this new mystery engine that's also very powerful, so it will be an amazing TCEC season for sure. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Interesting ideas of the close Sicilian for sure. If you want to see more beautiful and sharp tactical games like this, check out our commented chess games played by computer series. Here's the link of our playlist, and if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what to say, chess is the best of course.